Hey friends, it's Lauren Hutton here from newenergycreator.com. Normally I have a fancy camera, my hair done, and my makeup done, but I'm too tired. And this is too important not to share. So as many of you know, what I normally teach is how to self-govern your life, get in touch with your soul voice, and to not be governed by mass consciousness and everything around you, but to have your own personal experience. But what many of you don't know is I used to be a professional advocate. I was a lobbyist for cancer prevention and research funding and even worked on the Affordable Health Care Act, and now I have no insurance. But that's another story. I'm not here to debate the ACA or any political thing. What I wanted to share was a few energy tips that I have for you as a former advocate. Number one being the energy in which you engage is just as important as the message. So when you're calling your congressman's office, senator, state representative, whoever it is that you're calling, and when you talk to the legislative staffer, the energy in which you deliver the message is just as important as the message. So going in there with an open heart and an open mind and saying, hey, I'm really concerned about X, Y, and Z. If you could please let the representative or the senator know how I feel, I'd greatly appreciate it. I was a former legislative staffer, and when people would come in and yell and scream and be angry at me, it was very overwhelming. First of all, I'm sensitive, and second of all, I was overworked and underpaid. And every legislative staffer out there is probably overworked and most likely underpaid. So respecting that person and knowing that they are a person, not a machine, and that they're doing their best. So if you approach them with respect and dignity, and they will usually bring that back to you rather than screaming and yelling and all the other things that I'm starting to see on Facebook. So that's tip number one. And the second tip is honor people where they are at with compassion. As I write in my book, true compassion is honoring everyone on their soul journey without trying to change it. So if you're having friends who don't march, who don't get involved, that's their soul journey and you're on yours. We can honor if you, like at the soul level, are saying, I have to be an advocate, this is what I'm here to do, I'm going to honor you, even though I think that there are other ways to approach it. So we can take that and reverse it and honor everybody else and what their soul journey is. For all you know, they've had lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of activism, and this is their lifetime to have their personal internal journey. I know in a previous life, I advocated for the women's right to vote, and in that life, I became so sick and so disillusioned that I got ovarian cancer and died at 36. So some people have already checked their activism box, and we can honor those who are out there fighting and marching, great for you, and then honor people who choose not to do that. So that's number two. And then number three is take care of yourself. I worked at the Lance Armstrong Foundation for 5 years. At the beginning of those 5 years, I had energy, optimism, and really good health. At the end of those 5 years, my organs were failing. I was not taking care of myself. Every time something went wrong and the legislation or the budget item I was supporting didn't get passed or got shoved down or whatever, I took it on as my own personal problem, and it started to affect my health so badly that I had to quit, and I had to take a full year of recovery. When the doctors checked my blood, they found that 3 organs were shutting down, and I was not taking care of myself. So what you can do is, if you feel called to act and write a letter or a postcard or call or march or whatever it is, okay, do that and then take care of yourself. Go play with your kids, spend time with them, go into nature, take a walk, hang out with your dog, whatever it is that makes you feel full and safe in the world, do that. And that's the other thing, is creating a safe space for yourself. There's so much fear out there. If we're constantly tuned in to the news, Facebook, any of it, we're getting stuck in this like spin cycle of mass consciousness fear, and that can bring us down into it. And that leads me to the question is this mine? If you're starting to feel like really overwhelmed, really fearful, ask yourself, is this mine? Does this belong to me? Or does this belong to mass consciousness? Does this belong to the people surrounding me? Where is this coming from? If it is yours and you answer yes, you can address that. If it's not yours, you can let it go for the time being and pick it back up when you're feeling strong, healthy, and ready to engage again. So that was another tip. And then, what else? Take some time to opt out of mass consciousness. Maybe take a day off of Facebook, maybe go into the woods, or tell your coworkers, hey, today's my political free day. I'm going to take the day off, and then tomorrow I'm going to go back in there and learn what's going on and act and whatever it is. But just take little breaks before you do that. That allows you to approach what you're doing with a greater sense of awareness. And then finally, my last thing, tip number 5, is to try or experiment with feeling into the bigger picture. For those of us who are energy sensitive and very aware of our surroundings, a lot of us believe that what's going on right now is bringing stuff that's been kind of buried up to the surface to be released. So when you step back and see the bigger picture, you can see what's coming up is all stuff that needs to be released so we can move forward. A lot of stuff out there is really talking about feminine this, feminine that. Well, when you're in the space of self-awareness, you're both masculine and feminine, and neither masculine or feminine. You become very balanced in that. And it's less about I'm a woman or I'm a man. We're all both. And then we have this body. And it's, if you look at especially millennials, what's so amazing to me is that they don't identify with a certain gender or with a certain sexuality. So you can start to see how masculine and feminine are blending. So I would say the future is neither masculine or feminine and both masculine and feminine, if that makes any sense. So just really stepping back and seeing the big picture, like what's going on right now is really things coming up to be resolved. And I find great comfort in that. Although I will admit, if I get on Facebook too long, I feel run ragged, which is why there's no hair, makeup, or fancy camera involved in any of this. So, that being said, those are my tips for political activism and being aware of your energy in political activism. Thanks so much for your time. And if you're interested in starting to opt out of mass consciousness and start governing yourself instead of being governed by outside forces, I would encourage you to read my book called Becoming Sarah. All of the information is on my website, www.newenergycreator.com. But forget all that. Just take care of yourself. Be responsible for the energy you're putting out there. More fear, more hate, and more fight. When you put fight out there, you get fight back. So just be really aware of what you are creating in your world and how it affects everyone else around you. I love you guys. I honor you in your soul journey, whether you are being an activist or standing behind the short wall watching what's going on with compassion, or whatever role you are playing. I just want to tell you that I love you and I honor you, and I really hope that whatever you're doing, you feel supported. All right, I'm going to go home and eat dinner. Talk to you later. Bye.